we go to a cafe. All she wants to talk about is the Me Too movement. And I'm a man. You can understand why that's not my topic of conversation. First thing she says to me, so Neko, have you heard of the Believe Women movement? I was like, nah, because I got bills and crackhead doormen, but go ahead. What is it? She was like, it's a part of the Me Too movement. We ask women to come forward and share stories of rape and sexual assault, and we ask the men believe us. Then her voice changed. She said, so Neko, do you believe women? So I was honest. I said, look, I believe victims. I don't think anybody would lie about something like that. Not good enough. Do you believe women 100% of the time? I'm black and from the projects. I don't believe anything 100% of the time. When I said that, she got really mean and really personal. She said, okay, what if it was your daughter that got raped? Would you believe her 100% of the time? And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I had an epiphany. I was like, oh shit, you right. What if it was my daughter? Then I thought about it. I was like, but what if the man my daughter was accusing was your son? You gonna believe my daughter 100% of the time? Got quiet as shit in Starbucks, ladies and gentlemen. It got quiet as fuck.
The line itself, it's not even really a punchline. It's just that release valve. Like, it's so well timed, and
thank you, bro.
Yeah,
it's better than a punchline in a way. You know, it's like it's one of those things where the audience is just like, you know,
it is the punchline though.
Yeah. That's true.
That's really just what happened though. It got tense. You know what I mean? And it's like, and basically what I'm saying is that it's as tense there as it is in here right now. I'm putting this in that situation. I'm not really talking about Starbucks. I'm talking about right here in this room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're personifying something that they can't see, but it's like, no, I'm not even talking about what really happened in the story. I'm talking about y'all right now, you punks.
Damn.
Sitting here.
Yeah.
You can't laugh at that.
Neko, I love your glasses. Those are sick, dude.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, get that out of the way.
All right, yeah. This episode is brought to you by Neko's Glasses. What brand?
Yes. You know, I don't know, fam. I got these on 125th Street from a young lady that just had some glasses on the table.
All right. This episode of You Can't Laugh at That is brought to you by Neko's Glasses, found at 125th Street. Brought to you by some lady who has a table.
There you go.
If you're ready, willing, and able, check out this lady's table. She's got specs, contact lenses, shades, and
COVID vaccine.
And the COVID vaccine. It's like a New York City bodega, man. You got a little bit of everything.
a little bit. We try, bro.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Well, you're listening to You Can't Laugh at That. This is the podcast where we take topics that aren't funny, and we prove that they're actually funny from so many different angles. And joining us today is Neko White from New York City. Neko, man, you've been doing stand-up since 2007.
Yeah, bro.
That's you knew from a young age. You were like, I'm going to do this. What made you take the plunge so young?
I was always into comedy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sitcom kid. You know what I mean? Sitcoms basically raised me. Stand-up in particular, though, was always on in the house. Like, you know how after you grow up, you look back on things, it's like, oh shit, certain things make so much sense. So Martin Lawrence, I was 3 years old. My pops was watching him. And I just remember him doing that bit about when white people came over to Africa, we were over there chilling, right? And for some reason, the way my pops was laughing made me laugh, right? And then every sitcom I would watch, just so happens a comedian would lead that sitcom, right? As time went on, I'm in elementary school, and I forgot about this until recently. But when we had to write stories for class to read them out loud, I chose to write funny stories just because I liked the reaction. So then when I started high school, I met a kid who was funnier than I was in conversation, right? And I was never like the coolest kid in school. I was never the best looking, you know what I mean? So the one thing that I did have was that if you did come at me, I was good at snapping, and I was funny. You know what I'm saying? That was my in with most people. So my teacher had asked if anyone had a talent they wanted to show to the class. And I never tried it before, never thought I wanted to try it. And something in my head said, go tell jokes. I raised my hand, I asked if I could. She let me do 5 minutes, and it worked. And I kept doing it. She let me go up 3 times a week. like last 5 to 10 minutes during advisory. And then after about 4 months of doing that, she told me about open mics. And I didn't have a computer back then, dog. So there's a spot called the Children's Aid Society. I went around there to use the computer to look up open mics. And I remember I thought that, okay, if I do an open mic and I do it well, I could retire, right? Thinking that. Fucking, I went down to High Comedy Club and did this mic and I bombed. And I'd never had that before with a, you know, area of effect per joke was that low. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it'll never be that bad again. And then boom, 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 boom. And here ever since.
Damn, that's a legit teacher though. I mean, like, you know, I used to have teachers that let me do stuff like that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, man.
That's
kudos
awesome.
to her and to the fam.
For sure. And then I mean, you've been hustling ever since. I remember. So I worked as a waiter at Caroline's back from 2012 to 2014. So I remember you. I remember you dropping in from time to time there back then. Man. And like, I mean, since then, 2014, you released your first album, Introducing Me. You've been on TruTV, MTV2, Vice News, Gotham Comedy Live, JFL. I mean, you got quite the resume, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then you sent me a few tracks from Marcellus, which
second album
in 2020, and that was such a fun album to listen to, man.
Thank you, man.
You have such a nuanced take on each topic that you hit, and you hit some pretty sensitive ones, but you hit them in a way that it like you're not laughing at the thing that like the topic of conversation. So in the bit that we're about to play, you know, you talk about the believe all women, that part of the Me Too movement, and the way you do it is it's so well crafted. So we're going to play the clip, but if you want to introduce that clip first before we play it, and then we'll go.
Okay. For this one right here, it just so happened that a conversation, you know what I'm saying? A conversation kind of led to what you're about to hear, and enjoy.
All right, let's do it. Jeremy, misandrist.
Bad out here. I have another friend. She's a misandrist. If you don't know what that is, it's a woman who hates men. But she took it to a new level. She doesn't just hate human dudes. Anything with a penis, she hates it across the board. Humans with penises, dogs with penises, trees with dick-shaped branches. She hates them all. And she's an Instagram prophet. You know the type of person I'm talking about. They'll post something real profound on IG and act like they solved the world's problems. So she posted a pie chart. Now on the pie chart was rape statistics, and the caption was, men need to do better. I was at home like, yo, who is this for? Because you're not talking to men, you're talking about rapists. Now I don't know about you, but I don't think rapists give a fuck about pie charts. I really don't think so. I don't think so. If they don't acknowledge consent, you think they give a fuck about graphs, really? Also, how many rapists follow you on Instagram that you know you're making a difference right now? So now, she reached out to me because we're friends. She was like, hey, I'm in the city, I want to hang out. I said, okay, cool. So we go to a cafe. All she wants to talk about is the Me Too movement. And I'm a man. You can understand why that's not my topic of conversation. First thing she says to me, so Neko, have you heard of the Believe Women movement? I was like, nah, because I got bills and crackhead doormen, but go ahead. What is it? She was like, it's a part of the Me Too movement. We ask women to come forward and share stories of rape and sexual assault, and we ask the men believe us. Then her voice changed. She said, so Neko, do you believe women? It's like, why'd your voice just do that all of a sudden? What happened? Like, no, I'm gonna answer your question, but why do you sound like the sorting hat from Harry Potter? I'm so confused. You gonna put me in Gryffindor? What do I get after I answer this question? So I was honest. I said, look, I believe victims. I don't think anybody would lie about something like that. Not good enough. Do you believe women 100% of the time? I'm black and from the projects. I don't believe anything 100% of the time. When I said that, she got really mean and really personal. She said, okay, what if it was your daughter that got raped? Would you believe her 100% of the time? And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I had an epiphany. I was like, oh shit, you right. What if it was my daughter? Then I thought about it. I was like, but what if the man my daughter was accusing was your son? You gonna believe my daughter 100% of the time? Got quiet as shit in Starbucks, ladies and gentlemen. It got quiet as fuck. Yo, she got so mad at what I said, she got up, paid me back for both our coffees and left, and it felt better than sex. You understand me? To shut her up, I jerk off to the memory every 3 days. But people like that, they need to have the last word in every argument, because she called me later that night. She sounded distraught. I just want you to know that I was so offended that you would even insinuate that my hypothetical son, that he could rape your hypothetical daughter. I'm on the other line like, well, to be honest, I feel like me and my hypothetical daughter should be a lot more offended. Because in this hypothetical that you made up, my daughter got raped. How are you the victim here? Then she said, well, I want you to know I would never raise my son to do anything like that. It would be weird if you did. What are you talking about? I was like, look, I don't know if you're going to have a son, but if you do, I hope you can read a pie chart. And I left it at that.
That is such a sound bit, man. It is so airtight.
Thank you, man.
That
Really
is so
appreciate
good.
that.
All right, so let's just start from scratch, man. Where did that bit come from? What inspired it, and how did it take us through the process of putting it together?
It's a long process for that one, because I can't think of just one situation that inspired it. It's inspired by a lot of things. Just at the time of the movement, right? And I'm not trying to sound like I know anything, but it just felt like there was a lot of no conversation being had, right? And only one particular side of the coin getting any real space to talk about it, to where I'm a dude, and I'm from a family of 2 brothers. I have a nephew, you know what I'm saying? I also have a niece, right? And coming up, there were just certain things that you had to understand, you know what I'm saying? And when I saw everything going on once that movement started, and how there was no consideration for what the other side might think as far as dudes were concerned, right? And people would say all these drastic things, and then as soon as you say, okay, but now what if it's you? It's basically that.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's you? Like, yeah, sure, it's easy to say that, okay, believe everybody, but as soon as it's your kid, oh, well, my kid wouldn't do anything like that. That's what that other person's mom thought.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to show the other side, like, hey, try to look at it this way too, because for better or worse, God forbid it is you, then what? You know what I'm saying? Or God forbid it's your son coming forward with a story saying that something happened to them. Then what?
Right.
You know, so you can do both. Like I say in the bit, like, I believe victims. I don't think somebody would just come out and lie about something like that. But also, do I believe anything 100% of the time? Nigga, no. Truly, like, I don't. I don't believe my parents 100% of the time.
Right. And that line, I'm Black from the projects. I don't believe anything 100% of the time. I think that, like, to me, I took that as like the crux of everything that you're saying here, in the whole bit. Like, if I could narrow it down to
not at all. Because
right.
that really has such little to do with it. That part just explains like the instincts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody trusts anything 100% of the time. That's humanly impossible. You know what I'm saying? The Black and Projects line is just that, yo, my paranoia makes sense, bro. Don't tell me my paranoia doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what I've seen. And this is a whole thing about understanding each other's experiences.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Some experiences might lead you to say, well, I could believe anything 100% of the time. Some experiences might lead you to believe, I can believe what sounds genuine. You know what I'm saying? And then let the proof be what the proof is. But for the joke, just trying to put the shoe on the other foot and see if you'll wear it as often as you like the other person to wear it. Mm. And then when you realize that blow up, that was kind of a retelling of an actual event. You know what I'm saying? Minus the extra embellishments. But you blew up when I flipped the shoe just a little bit. I'm talking about your hypothetical kid. And again, you brought up the graphicness of my hypothetical daughter being hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that that identity. Like we build up this identity for ourselves. And then, if anybody ever introduces new information, it's like you're challenging who I am as a person now.
Right. But who's to say that I wasn't equally as self-righteous in the moment as that person was being? Because as soon as they opened that up, I thought of this joke.
But do you think that has a lot to do that just commitment to my belief, my standpoint, my viewpoint? Do you think that commitment to that is doing a lot of harm to society today? Is that why we're not having the conversation?
I don't know. I just think it's hard to have those conversations. You know what I mean? Because then you have to have honesty on both sides, bro. Because even when you think about it, to say one thing, you have to say the other. You know what I mean? If you want to have a real conversation, but who has that type of time really? And everything that you're exposed to right now, like if you go on Facebook asks you what are you doing? What are you thinking? Some shit like that. What is it on Facebook?
Oh, I don't even know anymore.
I'll tell you right
what's
now.
On your mind?
What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Right. So now that's what you going in with, right? What's on your mind? You go on Twitter. Twitter is what's happening. So when you go on those apps with those preconceived notions and you start telling people what's on your mind, that's your opinion, right? Everybody ain't gonna agree with your opinion. You're going to flock to the people that do, but most people aren't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'll get rid of those most people that don't until you have the few people that agree with you. And then more people that agree with you.
Right.
It's easier that way. That's for all of us.
Right. And then the algorithm adheres to that too.
And it adheres to what you hate.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that I know, but I do think it's a harder conversation to have because it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This whole thing they try to act like it's a war between one gender and the other. It's just a complicated conversation that needs to happen, hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very binary in a world that's gray. And,
all right.
And like, so I just saw Michelle Wolf. She came to Cleveland and she has a whole bit about the Me Too movement. And she makes a point a few times in her set.
I don't tell them that.
About what's that?
I said, don't tell them what you're doing in the set if they ain't seen it yet.
Oh no, there's not. I'm not giving it away. Just the general theme. She talks about the gray, like we need to talk more about what happens in the gray area because the world isn't black or white. And then she kind of breaks down that construct of black and white. And that's, to me, that's what I love about comedy is we play in that gray area while everybody else is like, no, this or that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think this bit that you do really plays in that area really, really well.
Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, you start just misandrous. Like that's a word that a lot of people either don't know what it is or they've seen and they don't understand or just haven't heard altogether. And so, attaching a label to a person, like that's one of the benefits of being like absolute thinking is you can attach a label to it and then your brain doesn't have to do as much work. It's like, oh, well, if you're a misandrous, well, that means this. And so that does she actually refer to herself as a misandrous? Or? No. Just she doesn't go around like.
I know a couple that like wear that term proudly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how you kind of play with it. Like she doesn't just hate human dudes, anything with a penis.
That's the build.
Yeah. That's absolute commitment to misandry. And I think, when we are absolutely committed to our position, it clouds our judgment so that, we are looking at dick-shaped branches and seeing something that isn't there, even though it's like an exaggeration in your bit. And then the IG prophet.
that might be the one I like the most out there. Yeah.
We've all seen it.
Yeah. We have.
just because again, that one is like again who we agree. Everybody that agrees with you is who's on here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I am not your target.
Yeah. Like you're just fishing for likes at this point. What?
Which is also cool, but again, just the the brutality in it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And how it's talking at people. You'll have to talk at people. You aren't going to get anywhere doing that.
Mm.
And that goes either way.
Yeah, I love the rapists don't give a fuck about pie charts. Like you have like 3 punchlines there. You challenge it, but who is this for? You're not talking about men. You're talking about racists or rapists, and then you have 3 lines there in a row that break that tension really well.
I got to pull this back. Yeah.
I wrote down the rapists don't give a fuck about pie charts. If they don't acknowledge consent, you think they give a fuck about graphs?
Yeah.
And then how many rapists follow you on Instagram?
Right.
Like those are 3 very commonsensical. Like they're not even necessarily punchlines. They just offer a quick shift in perspective.
Right. To justify what the hell I'm saying. Right.
Did you run into any trouble when you first started doing this bit?
Man, I think here's the thing, and I never want to jinx it, so knock on wood. So far, no. Like with that type of stuff, I haven't run into any trouble thus far. And it's one of those things where I think intention matters a lot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I used to have an equation for it in my head. I'm a little rusty at thinking about what it is right now, but intention plus something in your execution, right? I can't control how you feel about it. All I can control is my intention behind it and what I do to execute, right? So I mean well. I really do. I'm not angry at anybody if I'm doing something like you say, I try to stay in that gray area, right? So if it's like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you looked at it this way? Try to present that way. And usually folks get it. But I've never gotten any flack for these, I don't think. No. Not for that one anyway.
Now it's
and I made the misandrist like I make her a particular character too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I describe that person. That's somebody that either you identify as or somebody that annoys us all. Or someone that you're meeting for the first time if you've never met that archetype.
Right. Yeah. Right. And you frame her as a friend too. So yeah. That puts the audience at ease too. It's coming from a place of friendship.
That evens it out nicely.
Because I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, this is a story about somebody that you all know, that this is an exchange that I had with this person that I know that I'm on good terms with.
And you're that person and I'm you. And I'm that person and you are me. All that goofy shit.
Right. Transcending the consciousness part of it. That's one of the best parts of doing this is you can like get people to see through your eyes and all the people's eyes in your story. Like it's such a powerful tool.
It makes me miss the I love the rhythm of stand up, if that makes sense. Like and everybody has their own being back, like doing shows now and doing like newer shit. I was listening to that like music, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, they laugh there. They laugh there. Yeah. Oh man, that shit is sex. We can get back to that.
Yeah.
Ooh, God.
Yeah. When you got that good flow going, it's like it's like the cipher, man.
like good boxing, bro.
Yeah, it's like a dance.
I love that shit. I can talk comedy like sports, dog. It's almost unfair to only get time with you.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why we do this podcast. Man. It's so interesting to really get down into it with like different comics, different perspectives, different ways of talking about it.
Yeah. What's the next one? Do we have more?
It's one of the best.
Real quick though, the whole thing about like the binary, how people have this tendency to just like jump into. I was like afraid to chime in because everybody jumps on that, and I know people are going to listen to this podcast, and I don't want to be like, like I talk about. I would want to mention like how I do sympathize with men on their perspective on the whole thing because, but the problem is like I'm afraid someone's going to like be like, No,
Well,
you're a fucking asshole. But it's like,
and that's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like this bit got. I remember years ago when Cosby was on the line, right? And I was running a new joke back somewhere, and it was along the lines of how you'll get killed if you don't have a side. I remember I said something about waiting to hear all the evidence, right? And somebody said, wait to hear what are you, a rape supporter? And the joke was like, what does that even mean? Like who do you think I am?
Yeah.
Like, so you saying that I'm at home like with pom poms going RAP, right?
Yeah.
I get off stage and I'm going to get a ginger ale. And this girl came up to me. No, I'm lying. One of my friends was like, hey, do you know Neko? She says, oh, yeah, I know him. He doesn't think Cosby did. I said, huh? First of all, I never fucking said that.
Yeah.
I just did a thing about how people will kill you if you don't have a side, lady. I didn't even give my opinion on the thing. I remember after that, I was like, man, I might not even touch this topic, right? You got to get over that, man. And that's one of the things behind this too, is that people are scared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the kids are legit scared to have an opinion. Like that part. I don't like seeing that amongst comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
fair trial.
Like,
yeah.
If we do that to each other, I think like, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, at the end of the day, you gotta believe in a fair trial. Like even real trials aren't fair, like a lot of the time. But like in like an objective way, like in a human, like you can't just like, you have to have a fair trial for people, and they have to have evidence. You know?
And what the man is saying is something that he doesn't really know how to say, because like I can even hear you stepping on it, tiptoeing on it even right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's where and I think that's where people get caught up. Instead of being able to be, even if you speak out of line, sometimes I think it's okay to be corrected, but I don't think people are always in the business of correcting as much as they want to like just shake somebody. You know,
right?
I don't know. What's the next bit?
So the sorting hat bit, that's kind of like you introduce like a little like silliness to it.
Yeah.
It kind of bridges the gap from like you introduce this character and then you have that little line where she asks you like, do you believe all women?
Yeah.
And was that intentional, like including that that Harry Potter reference?
It was say and show. Right. Mm-hmm. So I told you now, this is what I thought when I heard it. You know, and it was again, it's like a beat thing. We all find our rhythm, and like what you heard, there's like the rhythm I like. You know what I'm saying? So I like punching. You know what I'm saying? I like stacking. And then I like leaving with one. So that's basically what you're getting there. I'm just stacking.
If you didn't include that, like right there, how do you feel like that would change the dynamic of the bit?
I don't know. I think it again because that part is fun. You know what I'm saying? That's good, clean fun. That's if you know, you know. If you get the reference, you get the reference, and you go with me. Hopefully, it'll take you to a positive space. If you don't, hopefully you get the inflections and whatnot, and it'll keep you in a neutral space till we get back to the up and down. It's tension and release. Break the tension, release the tension. Break it, release it.
Yeah, we've talked about that many times on this podcast for sure. Yeah, that's like one of the big themes for sure.
And I think that that's the best way to show technique. I think.
Yeah. If you can build that,
break it.
100%. And like you said, it's fun. We're dealing with something that can be construed as being heavy. And it is heavy for many accounts. And then like, here's this silly line in the middle that it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with it, but without it, I feel like it's like a glue that keeps people on board.
Shout out Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And when I was 5, my favorite movie was The Gremlins. Ain't got shit to do with this, but I just thought that I should mention. Sky's the limit.
Do you ever like use like a rapper's like that, like Lil Wayne. Yeah, like Lil Wayne. He was very like metaphorical in his lyrics, and it kind of created a different, not genre, but like a different style of rapping for a few years. Like, do you look to hip hop artists as an influence in the way that you built a set?
I can't say if I did, I can't say it was conscious. You know what I'm saying? But they've definitely inspired. You know what I'm saying? They've inspired a lot. Like T.I. inspired a couple headshots. Lil Wayne inspired a project that I released recently. I put out a special called Dark Out with no audience, and he inspired that.
Okay. Yeah. It's being an artist, like you have to draw from all fields. Like it isn't just like, no, I'm a comedian and that's like all I appreciate is comedy.
Yeah.
Then you got nothing to talk about. All right. So then she asked, do you believe women 100% of the time? And then you throw out that, I'm Black, I'm from the projects. I don't believe anything 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. And then her response, she throws that hypothetical your way. And then that pause where it's like you're thinking about it, that to me, that communicates you as like a thinker, like you're somebody who really is considering her perspective on it. Mm-hmm. And then you counter. And one of my favorite parts to listen to is there's somebody in the audience that's like, "Oh my God," or something like when you say that. It's so good. It's not necessarily like a funny line, but it's like, this is the point. Like right here, that's it. That's one of those lines where even if you are on that person's side that you're talking to, you gotta be like, didn't see that one coming. Right. And then, what did I write here? I can't read my own handwriting. What if the man was your son? You can. So when you're in a conversation with somebody who has a different perspective than you, what most people try to do is prove yourself right, like prove your point right. But one of the most powerful ways to actually get somebody to share your perspective, just for an instant, is to turn it on them with a question where they challenge their own belief. And that really kind of shows who they are as a human and how they respond.
Yeah.
Is that a tool that you use
yes,
frequently?
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, okay, now it's on you. I'm not gonna argue with you. You're right. Now what? Mm-hmm. Oh, your kid wouldn't do that. But in this hypothetical, like I would, you know what I'm saying? Like I would say that mine wouldn't even, be in that situation. But we hypothetical it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I still ain't got an answer to that to this day, by the way.
You jerk off to the memory, though.
Again, that's just good, clean fun.
Yeah. That's one of those. Well, the line that really cuts the tension is it got quiet as shit at Starbucks.
Man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's and the line itself, it's not even really a punchline. It's just that release valve. Like, it's so well timed. And
thank you, bro.
Yeah,
it's better than a punchline in a way. It's like it's one of those things where the audience is just like, what?
It is the punchline, though.
Yeah. That's true. It's just the profoundness outweighs the laugh in a sense where everybody's like,
If you think so, man.
Yeah.
If you think so. I don't know. It's all how you appreciate, right? Mm-hmm. So I like those. You know what I'm saying? I like those. And if the period is because what line are we talking again?
I got quiet as shit at Starbucks.
Oh, we talking about that. But that's really just what happened though. It got tense. You know what I mean? And it's like, and basically what I'm saying is that it's as tense there as it is in here right now. I'm putting this in that situation. I'm not really talking about Starbucks. I'm talking about right here in this room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're personifying something that they can't see, but it's like, no, I'm not even talking about what really happened in the story. I'm talking about y'all right now, you punks.
Damn.
Sitting here.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how didn't your brain go here? It's because you were thinking about it one way so hard. It never even mattered to you that this could hit you. And it could hit you in the way that we all worry about. And if it does, well, you can't even consider that. Whereas on this side, it's all you consider because I am someone's son.
That's deep, man. Just the idea of personifying like Starbucks, but you're actually describing the room that you're in right now.
Yeah.
Like that layer, that extra layer, man, that's
Starbucks
something that
is a state of mind.
Yeah.
There you go. No, legit. You're so right.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think about it, bro. I would do this bit in every type of room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in being in New York, whatever that culture everybody's so afraid of, well, we're up in front of that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you go in there and you try to figure out what's gonna work there. And it's like I get to this point and they're all because I'm basically describing some of them. You know what I mean? And they get to that point, it's like, oh, what are you so trust me, I can get us to where we going. You know what I'm saying? And again, I agree. I'm just saying, look at it this way.
It's like, I agree with you, but it's also my job to say, or to get you to look at it from a different point of view. And we're going to do that. And
it's also like, I ain't got no kids. So if I can go as far in the hypothetical as my imaginary daughter can get raped, you can go as far in this hypothetical as your son being raped. And since this is your hypothetical, you're going to have to wear that. I still ain't got that answer. I'm sending the text.
Yeah. That's a tool that I like to use is a hypothetical. But in this case, you're talking about a story about a hypothetical, about someone else who presented a hypothetical. You know, what sort of embellishment have you used in the telling of this story?
So just adding in like how tense the situations were really getting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this is somebody that I know. Yeah, I mean, we ain't really getting tense. We talk like this all the time. She has her way of saying, I have my way of saying, and we cool afterwards. But this is a play out of society. You know what I mean? And what I thought society was doing at the time.
Again, personifying.
Like she hasn't answered me back, but y'all haven't answered that question yet. But you've already shown what happens when it's your son.
Man,
you let him go and you let that girl suffer.
That is a deep layer of personification. Man, this is much deeper because I like to listen when we bring in comics. I like to listen to the bit over and over again. I'm like, could they have meant this? And that's not even something I even considered. So that's got me thinking. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again and like really
do it. Let me come back. If I knew we were getting this in depth, I would have came on where I had a whole block at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to get into another bit before. If I want this to be the only one we do.
Yeah, hey, we do this Saturdays, man. Let's line up another one. We'll dive deeper into it.
Heck yeah!
But so then you release that tension. She gets up and leaves. Well, first of all, she's obviously heard the bit, right?
Yeah.
Have you what was that conversation?
Wasn't one?
No.
Yeah, it was just funny.
Yeah. At this point, you know, if you're friends with me and I do a bit and you're involved in it, there's no conflict.
After all this time, yeah, there's no. They leave me alone. I leave out their names.
Yeah. Right. You're not like, and my friend Melissa.
I wouldn't do Melissa like that.
Yeah. Right. And then you close it out. The last chunk of the bit, they got to get the last word. Again, we know that person.
Yeah.
She calls you my hypothetical son and your hypothetical daughter.
That line is my favorite.
Yeah,
in that whole section, because it's like we talking about imaginary people. Look, this is 5 hours later, yo. What are you doing? And you put us in this situation. I never would have had that thought about my imaginary everything being harmed like that to prove a point.
Right. And in that
I think you're wrong for messing up my Sunday. Mean ass. Why would you do something like that to somebody you friends with? Hey, what if your daughter got raped? What if we just have coffee?
Can we just talk about the weather? Like, what
fucking friend are you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your trip to Trader Joe's. Come on, let's do.
Jeez.
Yeah. But you communicate all of what you just said in that one sentence. That like your hypothetical son, like my hypothetical daughter, like the absurdity of the fact that this conversation is continuing.
Right. And that's what it is. Like I don't really like thinking young comics do it this way. Do whatever you want, but put your like when you're trying to get something like that across, put yourself in that. Like put yourself in that moment with the crowd. So again, so they can understand your intent. Like, yo, I don't mean no harm, but yo, you're bothering me. You're bothering me. If you don't get from that bit, like you should leave with a piece of me going, okay, I think I know what he sounds like when he's exasperated. It sounds like where I'm going up in voice and I'm going, this is your hypothetical. That in this hypothetical that you made up, like your voice matters too. This whole thing is an instrument. I have my words that I go up on. You have your words you go down on. All of that shit matters.
Yeah.
Because you can sound real intense if you say something a certain way.
Yeah.
Or you can sound real if you say something another way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs to watch more. Actually, no, never mind. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because then everybody will come out sounding just like that comic.
You know what I'm saying? Or shit. I just don't want them getting as good as me. Fuck that.
Right. Don't give away industry secrets.
Right. Tell them the wrong thing to do.
Oh, never that. Don't do that to the. That's one thing that happens too often anyway.
That's absurd.
You know what I'm saying? That happens way too often. Appreciate each other because this industry doesn't.
Yeah.
Appreciate each other because this industry does not. They will look at you as if you're crazy while you're good and tell you to be undeniable while no one's denying you.
Yeah.
Be good to each other.
First and foremost, man. Yeah, these and I'm sure, it happens in New York. You get these like one night bookers who are just like in it for themselves, and like, everything on social media is bragging about how good their shows are, and they're not paying comics when they said they would, and like
that I've never been good with anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm one of those what's the details types of people. You know, and that comes from starting early and making this my profession immediately. And I think a lot of times, like the type of person you are bleeds into whatever you do. I was always a kid that if you asked me to go to the store for you, I would ask for $1. Right. And that mentality, I brought that into this to where after a certain time, and you go, okay, I can hit this certain area of effect. What do you have to do to be able to be paid or whatever? Right. It's like, so you have to have X amount of minutes. Okay, let me make sure I got that amount of minutes. Let me make sure I got it tight. Let me make sure I'm hitting the same area of effect as the people that are hitting that. You know what I'm saying? That are getting paid, right? Then when you get there, the text change. Hey, can you do the show? Yeah. What's the details? And sometimes you get the person like, what's the details? Allotted time and pay. And if it's comic on comic, comics, remember that is not that's not a diss to you. You know what I'm saying? That's not a diss to you. And just not know who you're talking to. I'm not even talking about with me, I'm talking about in general. Be aware that comedy does pay. You know what I'm saying? Comedy does pay. There's nothing wrong with doing free shows, but if you could train your audience into paying to see you, the better it'll be. You know what I'm saying? Put some stakes on the line. Even if it's just, if you're charging $3 a ticket or something, or if you passing the bucket, whatever. But find a way to keep some sort of money circulating. It's just a group of y'all eating dollar pizza at the end of the night. Have enough money for the fucking pizza, especially if you would have packed out the bar.
Right.
Nah, dog, look, I've been doing it for a long time now, right? But I'll see something like in the city, I used to see some of the kids, they would bark in shows and the bar that they bark in the show to would be packed. And they would leave sometimes without money to even get on the train. It's crazy.
Yeah.
To where it's like, if y'all charge $3 a ticket, if it's only y'all, if the inmates run the asylum, if you charge $3 a ticket, you get that same 70 people. You can make a menu with the bar of like, okay, look, the drinks will cost $1 more here or whatever, and you might get $1 off a ticket, or let us keep the tickets and you make whatever you make off drinks and food. You can pay everybody.
When I first started booking shows, like I was just learning how to do it. So yeah, go for it. So I wasn't paying, but at the end, like right before the pandemic, when I was doing shows, like I always made sure to get people paid. Like I did a show at a little bar right around the corner from my house, and we passed around a bucket, and comics all got paid first. A lot of times I walked out getting nothing, but it felt good to pay the comics, man.
It's the thought that counts, and a lot of times people appreciate the thought. Comics especially, they're so used to getting nothing, they appreciate anything. You know what I'm saying? But just across the board, we need to treat each other better. Stop fighting. Man. Stop fucking fighting. There's enough. Nobody's in your way. Literally nobody's in your way, fam. Yeah, I know that like odd cliche. Oh, well, look at somebody is in my way. Nobody's in your way, and get out of each other's way. Stop being insecure. Quit talking about each other badly in front of the industry. Motherfuckers are not your friends.
Right. Right. Because what's stopping somebody else from talking that same way about you, you know?
Right. Exactly. Let's do one more bit before I get out of here, though.
It's not worth it,
too
man.
much fun.
Yeah. Well, that's that. I mean, that's really that whole bit. I mean, you close it out. You close it out with that callback, the pie chart callback.
Yes.
That's such a strong bookend. Did you try any other bookends, like any other callbacks, or was it always going to end on the pie chart?
It was so that whole piece is really like 7 minutes, because that goes into the one that's after it. But there was a point where I didn't even have the pie chart thing, right? Because I hadn't seen it yet. The pie chart was something that I saw earlier that year, you know. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, got it.
Was that something that you threw out there, like while you were on stage or while you were writing? Like, what's your writing process like? Like,
oh man, it's changed so much. I remember for years I would be able to, like, it would get real romantic when I would get to writing jokes. I'd like candles,
like
listen to R. Kelly back before he was canceled, y'all. But I'd sit down and just everything that was in my head go. You know what I mean? And I'd fill notebooks in like a week. Now, as time went on, it's like the jokes got bigger, the perspective got deeper. I'd have to keep notes, you know what I'm saying? Keep a small notebook with me everywhere I went. And then because you get better at knowing where you're going to go, how you're going to try something and how to retain memory of it, I would have harder times writing out a whole thing, because while I'm on the third sentence writing it, my mind is on the second piece. You know, so it became a little hard for my writing speed to keep up with how fast I was thinking. So then I just started, if I got 3 shows that night, I'm gonna try this one thing 3 times. If I got 3 shows tonight, then I'm gonna try this bit this one way, then I'm gonna try this bit behind it this way to see if it works. If I have these 3 things on the same topic, let me see if I can put these things together in a chunk and transition well enough where they make sense and make a piece. So like even this joke started out, it's probably 3 different things all under that idea, right? There's parts of it that stemmed from that night back in maybe whenever that Cosby shit first happened. And I said, I'm gonna, wait for the rest of the proof coming out, right? And taking that and then having that thought match some energy with another situation and go, oh, boom, I can connect these ideas like this. Then see the Venn diagram and go, oh, wait. And I could take that and I could put this with this. And then I get to that story about what happened in Starbucks with old girl, connect that at the end. Now I had this bit.
Do you do you find the funny and then find the ideas that are within that, or do you have an idea and try to extract the funny from that idea? Or is it like a little bit of both?
I think it's both, but I think it's more the second one as far as order is concerned, right? It's like, well, I feel this and I giggled about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I feel this. What am I talking about? I felt this and I giggled about it. You know what I mean? I felt this in relation to this topic and I thought this about it. And then getting to the funny, like pulling it out of the point. And just to basically go, like, I'm saying, I'm not crazy. Like, this is what I feel. But it's with that energy, like, this is what I feel. Not, this is what I feel. It's two different things. If I was being mean, like, this is what I feel, it'd probably come off different. But it's like, yo, again, I don't disagree. I'm just saying, you got it.
That's a sauce that a lot of comics miss too, is especially like newer comics, is like, oh, I'm gonna write what I think is like what I think they'll think is funny versus like I'm gonna write what I feel and then find the funny in that.
Right. It's also a process thing too, right? Because you got to think about it. That bit, I'm what? At the time that I recorded that in October of 2019. So if I started in 2014, I'm just turning 13 or turn 12, something like that, right? 12 or 13 years. And I think it's 12. So I'm 12 years in. For a newer person, they might go the opposite route where they'll write what they think is funny first. And that makes sense. They're supposed to. You know what I mean? We shouldn't shoot them before they get a chance to grow.
Yeah. What do you mean you don't? What do you mean you can't like just write on stage? Come on, you've been doing this for 6 months. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. Back when you're that young, you have all the audacity you ever need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just don't have all the skill you'll ever have. You know, it's not okay to cut off people's they don't even let people reach their peak before they cut off their arms, bro. Easy. So this wasn't they'll go back and be like, this wasn't the most fire shit ever. It's like, well, that person that just started then. Give them a minute.
Yeah, man. I listened to stuff from when I first started, and it's like I'm so happy to be at this, to have grown, to be able to listen to that and be like, man, this is
not be that anymore.
Simple. Yeah.
I listened to that and was like, damn, I didn't realize how fast I was talking.
Yeah.
It's growth. I mean, even a year ago, even 6 months ago, I mean, 6 months ago, there wasn't much going on, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Now I get you.
So what you kind of challenge in this bit, as far as like a societal construct, is these absolute beliefs that, we live in a fluid world. Everything is changing. We're getting hit with new information constantly
every day.
And so there is a lot of people who get married to the views that they've had forever. That doesn't fly anymore. Like, you gotta be willing to rethink. You gotta be willing to reinvent yourself constantly. Yeah. And
the only way to improve.
Right. And this bit does a great job of questioning that committal to one idea, that 100% of the time, all the time mentality. Like, good luck keeping that up.
Yeah. And I appreciate the words on that, brother. Thank you.
I mean, there's a depth to it. And, when we were talking and I was like, oh, we'll make the topic, the believe all women. And you were like, I don't know about that, because that's not really what this is about. That really had me thinking. Because right now I'm reading a book called Think Again. And and it's all about challenging your beliefs. Being open to, when you're presented with new information, to listen to that.
It's so funny too. Like, it's so funny, the things that people take away from something, right? And like, even like you said, when you reached out about it, it's like, yeah, we'll talk about the believe women thing. It's like, yeah, that when I say that wasn't the point, I just mean it in that the whole point of that bit was put the shoe on the other foot, and what if it was you? It's different when it's you. That's the whole point of that bit. It's different when it's you, because again, it's all gravy if we feel this way until it's your son, or even in my case, until it's my daughter. My response was only that drastic too in response because it was my hypothetical daughter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If she would have said my niece, my response probably would have been drastic too, but who's to say it would have been that quick or that direct? There's and it's funny the things that people take away from it too, right? Even when you got like, I'm Black from the projects, what you got out of that versus what I meant out of that, right? And there's another thing that I do, and I'm talking about people being aware, right, of their surroundings. And somebody told me that I was talking to Black people in that bit, and I had to look around, bro, because I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm in front of a white audience talking about a white woman. What that got to do with Black people? Y'all don't tell. White people don't tell each other, be aware of your surroundings. I think that's a human thing.
Yeah.
I'm not being specific. I'm talking about an idea of being reckless and not paying attention.
Yeah.
Just because that's a common trait that a movie told you that white women have, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is based off of an earlier track on that Marcellus album. Steve, if you haven't listened to the album, definitely do it. It's a fun listen, for sure.
Give it a listen. Let me know what you think, fam.
For sure.
Yeah,
Dude.
And for those of you who are listening, the link to get the album off Amazon is in the show notes. So
heck yeah,
definitely do that. Definitely do that. Yeah, like you're saying, it's you put the shoe on the other foot, you develop a little bit of empathy, you realize that it's a human being on the other side of the table, on the other side of the equation, doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have, versus like, it has to be this way or it has to be that way, and that's everything. It's like, no, dude, no.
You're gonna lose a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, and with how fast things are moving and how complicated things are, like there's no introspection on that, and it's like, look how
different today is from yesterday. Like, I feel bad for old, closed-minded people. Imagine how many times their world has been shattered within the last 5 years. Right? I'm talking about beyond their comprehension, shattered. If you don't feel sorry for that person, like, and you don't have to, but when you understand that those people are out there, like, and they have to walk around in a world they don't recognize.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Careful how you treat. I don't know. Everybody got to treat each other better, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Even though they're living this entirely different world, the term mental gymnastics, what they're doing mentally to ensure that their identity remains intact, even though it might go against what they've been saying, they've been believing. Now they have all these justifications for it. All of a sudden, like, they don't know who they are.
Motherfuckers don't know what they believe. We had 2 trash candidates, and we voted for one that is now attacking Syria for God. I don't even know why anymore.
Right?
Yeah. What the fuck is over there, bro? Leave those people alone if they ain't harming us, man.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? He about to give money to the police. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But nothing's going to change.
What are we doing?
Hey,
and then they blame it on the kids like they're crazy. Oh,
right.
these kids have too many guns. Well, you can't tell them that there's 400 million guns, then tell them there's 300 million people, because then they would think, if I don't have a gun, then I'm slacking.
Right,
so now that all of a sudden there's going to be a billion guns, and
we already got more guns than people, bro. And it's like, when we keep lying about it, like, oh, well, why do these things keep happening? The news and social media is why they keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
You think the kids are walking in shooting each other just because they're evil? That's only one part of it. They don't get to see their friends. There's no connection to the video game controllers anymore. There's no 3 people in a room unless they're family members usually. So if they woke up and played Call of Duty, they bursted in a room killing other people all day. That's all they've been doing, bro.
Yeah.
Then when you add on to the fact that guns are so available. That's all they ever show you on the news is people getting guns, using guns, getting guns. That's all. That's all you put in these kids' heads.
Oh, I thought all those were tasers.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's
added,
like this whole thing, man. It's very surface
and fears.
Yeah.
We got to do something about the media first, because I think that shit is really agitating the hell out of things.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that George Floyd's trial is a television show, I can't tell you the anger.
Oh, it's absurd. It's absurd.
Anyway,
you got that. You got you see the dude in Virginia, the Air Force dude. You see this. I mean, it's just constant, man. It's much more difficult. It's much more nuanced than black and white. And we can
100%.
talk about this for hours, but I know I would be respectful of your time. I
don't know how late you guys go. I don't know if you folks are around at all, but this is a conversation I'm being serious, I would like to have. I wish I had more time. If you all are available later today, I'll be back later, so let me know. But I love to jump back on with y'all to really have some time to talk.
I'm game for it though, so just let us know, man. For sure.
Definitely
always happy to have a good conversation.
Always.
So
yeah,
pleasure to meet and to talk to y'all.
Yeah, you as well, man.
Hope to meet and talk in person, fam.
Absolutely, dude.
I got
your album on Spotify up already, so I'm gonna give that a listen.
Yeah.
You've been one of my favorite guests.
Oh man, thank you, man.
This was a very
the
substance in this conversation was definitely the whole point of this podcast. So definitely is one in the top, it's definitely up there for sure.
I sincerely appreciate that. Yeah. Thank y'all. Add me on Instagram. Let me know what you think of the album. And let's talk more. I'm gonna jump off here, but I really do appreciate the words, y'all. Legit.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
man. Neko White, thank you for the time, man. I'll be in touch for sure.
Pleasure was mine. God bless y'all.
Thanks for helping us prove that, no matter how complicated things might be, there's always a way to laugh at that absolutism that we've been bringing to the table for too long.
Always. Keep laughing, y'all. Long live.
Long live. Take it easy.
Yep. Take it easy, man. We'll see you.